tell me a little bit about yourself, or tell everybody that's going to be watching this who you are and what you do.
Right. Okay. So first of all, I met Elinor online through the Views camera company. That's because I have a 360 video production company, and we're based in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. And yeah, we started in 2015, and it is my own company. And I'm really very excited to be working with a new technology. I'm from a completely different background, so it's very challenging to find out basically everything, like how the tech works, find out about hardware, software, also find out what it's like to have your own company, how you can, well, find clients, how you can build your network. And yeah, it's a great adventure. And so far it's been really good, and I'm really, really excited.
Like
Yeah.
a roller coaster, I would say. More
Yeah,
like.
it's I just had my father-in-law was here for lunch, and I was just telling him about like everything that I'm doing and about this interview. We were talking about communities and what it means. And so I was also telling him how much I love that like so many different skills that I've gained over the years. Yeah, I can use all those skills in like many different ways, like networking, writing. I'm doing interviews myself. Well, making videos, finding clients. It's so very diverse, and it's very interesting. And because it's so diverse, it's also very important to find ways to get feedback. And well, that's actually well what this interview is about, like how you can what the community means for you, and how the community can help companies and brands to join hands and help each other and get better. Yeah.
Okay. What did you do before Field of Views?
Okay, so I have a master in child development, and after my twins were born, that's like 14 years ago, I set up an organization for twin parents, giving parenting support, and I wrote many articles and books, and I was giving presentations and meetings for twin parents. So it's something completely different.
Yes,
Yeah.
but still entrepreneurial. You have that entrepreneurial spirit in you.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's because first of all, I like to get challenged. I like to learn. I like to well to educate myself. When you set up something completely new, you really have to well to build the knowledge and experience. And I really I really like to challenge myself like that. And also I like my independence. I like to create stuff, and I like to not to be dependent, to be not dependent on, not too dependent on people that are directing me in a certain way. So yeah, that's
Okay.
me.
So, yeah, well, it makes sense, and it makes sense, at least for me, because I already know you, but the people watching don't know you yet, so they will, uh, because it makes total sense considering what we're going to talk about. So I'm going to ask you another question. When you hear the word community, or, what does the community mean to you?
Right. So I'm also gonna ask you the same question.
No problem.
But for me,
But be careful, I can talk about it for hours.
that's good. That's okay. I have time. For me, the community
Okay.
is a place where you can find, where I can find like-minded people, people with the same interest and the same need to get connected and share knowledge and experience.
Okay. Is it only knowledge and experience? So when you say like-minded, is
Uh,
it only professional?
Um, most for me, mostly yes. Yes, it's also yeah. Sometimes you meet really nice people and it gets like more personal. But in general, for me, for my business, it's yeah, primarily to find to share, yeah, to share ideas and experience.
Okay, so I'm gonna take it a little bit. I'll take it up a notch. A professional community, which is obviously a place where you can meet like-minded people, as you said, and share knowledge and exchange information. Is it also important for you in such a community, in a professional community, to also have, at least in part, people that share some of your personal values?
Oh, right. Not necessarily. Well, I think if you find like-minded people, that comes along with it. But on the other hand, people that have different ideas or different values can also inspire you and help you to have a different approach or a different look at what you're doing. So, because when you're building your own business, you like after a while you have like your blind spots, and you really need to get inspired and get feedback from others to keep your head going and yeah,
You raise a
build
very
new
interesting.
ideas. Sorry?
It's a very interesting point here, that blind spot that you're talking about. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I'm looking at it from the perspective of a brand, okay, not as I'm talking to you now. You represent, for me at least, both sides of the coin. So you are a community member,
Mm-hmm.
but you are also, and a very engaged one, and we'll talk about that later, but you are also a business owner. So you have your own brand.
Yeah.
When I look at communities from the perspective of a brand, I often tell entrepreneurs or brand leaders that we work with that they have a blind spot, and the community can actually help them
Yes.
um, see things that they are missing, because they kind of
Yeah.
fall in love with their own idea or with their own brand. Or and it's funny that you mention it, even from your experience as a community member.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
that
yeah.
diversity that community brings.
I think for a brand, the added value of working with community members can really be that they can help. Like they know much more about the consumers' needs, I think, in general, than the company itself, because they've been working with a product, that they've developed a product, and they have they have certain ideas of what the consumers are looking for. But I think,
Um,
in fact, the sorry.
Excuse me, Suzanne, the sound is kind of breaking up. I don't know if it's just on my side. You hear me okay?
Yes. Can you hear me?
So go on. Yes, yes, it's
Okay.
sorted out.
Yeah, so we were talking about the blind spot. Okay, so I think what the community members can mean for the brand is that they have they might even more understand what the consumers' needs are, because maybe they are the consumers themselves, or they've been working with other consumers, so they can really help the brand to get more insight in how they should maybe find a different direction in their marketing approach or development of their product. So I think if they find a way to get people out of the community engaged and sort of invite them to help them with the marketing, maybe online or during events like I did for Humanize. And they can like share their experience and help the company to the company can really benefit from those activities, and in return they can have like give free publicity and help the person the community member to get more exposure online and build their names. So I think it always works both ways. Like it's not like one direction. Yeah. So um, as long as you're open to a certain collaboration where you understand how you can help each other and support each other, then I think they can really be very beneficial for both ways.
Okay, that actually raises another question. And that's a question that has, again, more than one facet, more than one side. And that's the question of trust.
Mm-hmm.
So the question of trust that I have for you is, one, as a community member, especially in a professional community, are you or have you ever felt threatened afraid to share information, so afraid of competition, because they are basically, like you say, like-minded people, so they're probably in similar or identical businesses. And the other side is trust of a brand in the community members, and vice versa. So the community members trusting the brand. Have you or do you have anything to say about that based on your experience as a very engaged community member?
Right. Okay. So those were a couple of questions. So let me start with the community. Have I ever felt threatened through like colleagues in the community? In the first year, yes, because you're so eager to well, you start, you have certain ideas, you're enthusiastic. So the first year you're really into finding clients, making money, and so you're really, very hesitant to share everything you know, and it's like your little secret. So that was during my first year, and then during the second year, I started to understand the added value of sharing my experience and knowledge with people in the community, and that's basically, well, one of the reasons was the blind spot that we just discussed, that I really wanted to have feedback from others and see how they would respond to the things that I have created and the ideas I have. And then so also you work with a new technology, so everything is new. There are no rules. You really have to find out a lot, and it goes with ups and downs. Like one point you can be like feel very confident, everything is going really well, and then like all of a sudden you feel like, okay, I don't know where I'm going. You're struggling, find new clients, whatever. And then you really need to meet people and talk to them and hear what their experience is, and also to understand like where you are, and where you should go to find direction, basically, and also to feel confident. For example, in the virtual reality industry, last year has been a year where they call it like the virtual reality winter. Like everyone had like really high expectations, and then for most people in the industry, it was sort of standing still. And so that really can make you very insecure. And you, especially when you have your own company and you're doing it all by yourself, you really need to talk to people that you can really. Sorry?
You need clients.
You need, of course, you need clients, but most importantly, I think, is that you need people to talk to and hear their experience. And then, for me, it was really important to hear that they had the same struggle, and that really can help you to accept and to keep motivated to keep going. And so it's a part of the a part is the blind spots. It's to stay motivated. It's to get inspired, to get feedback. So to come back to your question, so the first year I did feel threatened, and again, like when I regularly go to events and meetups to talk to people, and I can see, like when I'm talking to people, I can see where they are. Like the new people, they're all sort of hesitant to share like all the news and their experience, and so I can tell, okay, so you're in your first year, I understand, I can relate, you know what I mean? So, but it's
now you can recognize them.
Yeah. Okay. It also, I think it's really important to accept when you build your company that it doesn't, like it is not successful from the beginning. You really have to understand that and accept that. If you can, then you can get rid of all the pressure that you've experienced, and that can really be a great help to just relax for a bit and then keep going and keep growing and
bring in more people to help you from the community. Bring in more people to help you from the community. So not necessarily help you, in your actual business, but like you said, in sharing information, knowledge, inspire you.
Mm-hmm.
So not
Yeah.
afraid of trusting others. And the other question was about brands trusting their community members, and community members trusting brands. And it's actually coming from the same place of basically two businesses. So even
Yeah.
if the brand is selling a product that you use in your business, so you're not necessarily competing,
Yeah.
but still you're in the same industry.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's really important to, when you start collaborating with, there is a beginning of collaboration between a community member and a brand. It's really important to not have like certain expectations. Well, of course, you start to collaborate because you can see how it can be beneficial for both of you. But it's really important to not have like really high expectations or goals or like hidden agendas behind the agreement that you make. And I think it's important when you start this collaboration that you speak out what your ideas are and speak out. For me, it's really important, like when I work with a company, that I tell them, okay, so I can do this for you, and what's in it for me is that I can get exposure. So I talk openly about it, and I think open communication can really help uh,
Yeah,
to build trust. And
transparency.
yeah, and also trust. There will not be trust from the very beginning. You have to. You're starting to build like a relationship, and building a relationship takes time. So for me, everything I do, I take it step by step, and take just small steps, and keep communicating, and then yeah.
Okay. What is the biggest added value that you have, that you feel that you have received from being a part of the humanized community, for example, because that's the community where I met you, and I know you're very involved and very engaged.
Right. Sorry, what was your question again?
What was the biggest added value that you can say or feel that you have
Right.
received from being a
Um,
part of that?
wow.
Not necessarily from the brand point of view, from
Yeah.
just being a part of that.
Um, I think a couple of things. I think first of all, when let me just explain how I got in touch with the brand. So I when we talk about building communities, uh, my second year of my company, I started to decide to visit meetups more often. And I was that can be like communities can be either online or in person, right? And I like both. Uh, I really like
Both.
I really like to meet people in person because I think that can really help to build like a better connection. Also, we have to meet either in Amsterdam or in Israel. Because we've only
Okay,
met
no
online.
problem.
Yeah. So so I decided to go to meetups more often, and then I met one of the users. I didn't have a Views camera at that time. I met one of the users, Pete Simcoe, online when I was just looking online for people to connect to that were also in the 360 video production business. And so I connected to him on LinkedIn, and then we started to talk, and then turned out that he was going to a meetup in London while I was going to be in London too. So he invited me to come over. So I went to this meetup. It was not a very interesting meetup, but we got a chance to meet. And then we were talking about the Views camera. And so right before summer, I decided to buy this camera, and I just wanted to learn about it because it has not only 360 but also 3D. So it was like a different camera. So I bought a camera, and then there was the New York VR Expo event in October in New York. And when I was looking at the schedule of this event, I found out that Jim Malcolm, who is the general manager in North America for the Views camera, was going to give a talk about the product. So I reached out to him, and we sort of started to discuss opportunity to connect. And so he suggested to meet in New York 2 days prior to the event, so we could do some filming together in New York, which was really great because it was really nice to work with someone who really understands all the challenges when you're working with new technology, because he says exactly the things that I always say while I'm filming. Anyway, so we connected, and then he offered me to be a part of his presentation. So he gave me 5 minutes at the end of his 45-minute presentation, where I could talk about my company and share my ideas as a user of the product. So it was also interesting for them to have a user of the product in the presentation. And for me, it was great because I could show off. Sorry?
Yeah, but if I remember at the time, you were already a part of the users group on Facebook, and you were already even creating content with that product.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so when I bought the camera, I started to record stuff. This was in the summer. So I recorded some videos, and I don't know how, but I found the users Facebook group. And so in the beginning, I was a little shy. I don't want to use that group to show off my work, so I didn't really want to share.
That's by the way, another interesting part, because you are a part of a community, and yet you're saying that you don't want to abuse the group. Let's put it this way.
Yeah. So I think it's great if we can inspire each other, but I don't want to be the person that's posting all the time, like, look what I've created. So no, so so that's how we met in New York, and then it was really great because I had a part of his presentation, and then he asked me if I could help them at the booth the following 2 days to talk to visitors and share my experience. And that was really great because we had a lot of media attention, and even people from media companies interviewing me about how I use the product. So it was really interesting also for Jim.
That's the two ways you talked about before.
Right. Yeah. So it was both for the Views camera company and for me a very interesting experience. And and even after the event, I got in touch with some journalists, and she interviewed me again. And so she posted it, and she connected both links to she put links to my company and also to the Views camera company. So that's how it then mixes blends together. And then after this experience, we recorded the videos in New York, so we stayed in touch, and we were just sharing like editing of the video, and I kept on communicating with Jim online. And then he came up with the idea of inviting me to come over to CES in Las Vegas, and even asked me if I could give presentations at the booth. So that was, for me, it was really recognition for the work that I'm doing. So to come back to your question, what is the
biggest added value? Yes.
Yeah, so for me, it's mostly recognition, and also the fact that they really helped me to build my name, my personal name, and the name of my company. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And if I take you back before VR to the organization that you set up for parents of twins.
Yeah.
That's actually a sort of a community too, right?
Yeah, so it is, and I can see that Marion Gavers is watching right now, and she lives in Australia, and she's also a twin mom, and she's very active in the twin parent support system. So I am still connected to some of the communities, and so I also set up my own community in a Facebook page.
That's a community you developed and you led, right?
Yeah.
So as a community leader in a completely different field, why or how did you see the added value there?
Oh, right.
For you as a mom and for other people.
For me?
What was it about? What was the most important part about it?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I've always seen the input of those community members as an inspiration for me, as a community leader because they actually gave me the topics to discuss, to talk about, and they actually helped me to write my book. And they also they gave me the input, so I actually used their input in my book to create it. So yeah.
So if we're turning the tables a little bit, you were the brand in that case, and
Yeah.
you used that community for input that helped you create your book, which is essentially a marketing material.
Yeah. Yeah.
And an expertise and a thought leadership piece.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So that's interesting too. Okay. I guess we can go on about this for like hours, but I just have, I think, one last question for you, and that's what would be your best advice to business owners who want to promote their business and don't even think about communities. So how would you advise them to start or approach this issue?
Wow. I think it really depends on your personality. Like, what kind of person are you? Um, are you someone who really wants to share what's in your head or what you're creating? Are you someone who likes to connect to people? And how professional would that be, or would that be more personal? It can, well, there are so many online, there are so tremendous opportunities to find ways to join communities or create communities. um, I haven't been a very great fan of Facebook so far, but still it allows me to connect to communities. And so I
You know,
sort of
communities.
abuse Facebook for my for for work. Yeah,
Okay, that's a
yeah.
that about sums it up. Yeah, but you know, Facebook is just a channel. There are many channels for communities, and you can actually do you can develop communities even on your own website if you have a forum, or even with blog comments, or you can use LinkedIn. You can even use multiple channels. The question is, well, obviously it depends on the business and the type of, like you said, the type of person you are.
Mhm.
But would you advise people to even think about that?
Yeah, well, as I mentioned before, I think it's a great way to find inspiration and get feedback. And but it only works if you're open to it. So during my first year, I didn't even think about it. I haven't really thought about it until you came up with this subject. Like during my second year, where I sort of, well,
You don't even recognize that you had your own community before.
sorry?
You didn't even think about the fact that you had your own community before.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Well,
well, I'm glad I showed you.
well,
Okay, that was funny.
I think it's
Yeah.
and that's for everything you do in your life. It's really important to let things grow naturally. So because if you're trying to try to force yourself to do stuff that isn't what you are, then it's not going to work, or it's not going to give you what you're looking for. So I think as long as you let things grow naturally, um, it can really be a great help for you. But again, you have to be open to what people can give you, and you have to open yourself to share and to give something back. Um, and you have to be in a certain phase in your like a certain position in your company, like where you feel like you can allow yourself to open up and um, well, yeah, how do you say that? get inspired, get feedback, yeah.
Open to the feedback. You have to be open to
Yeah,
feedback. That's true.
yeah, yeah.
So if I have to sum it up, the best communities are the ones that develop organically.
Yeah.
So around the mutual interest.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about brand communities and communities as a marketing channel for brands, then the brand has to be open to sharing even before the community members.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yes.
yeah, I think that's very important. Yeah. And also you have to know, you have to limit yourself every now and then. Like for me, like I have a couple of communities that I'm a part of right now, and I can really get lost. Like I can keep talking and connecting and reading. Like for example, if you go to one of the Facebook pages that I'm in, like people post so much interesting stuff, like topics, like events, articles, and I could spend like hours and hours reading what people are saying and talking to them. So I think
that only means those are good communities.
that, yeah, really, really, very inspiring. But you also have to limit yourself and to not get lost in what other people think and what other people are saying. So as long as you like open up and then to hear what they are saying and then go back to where you are and use like everything that you pick up outside and go back to what you're creating yourself and think about your own values. That's how you can really benefit like the output, the input
Suzanne,
that
I
you
think
get.
I'm losing the sound a little bit here. You
Sorry?
hear me well?
Yeah. Yes.
Ah,
I can
okay.
hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So that was interesting for me at least. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I don't have any more questions. Well, again, we can talk about this for hours, but I think I'm done with my questions
Okay, cool.
to you.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you would like to say, add, ask?
Um, why did you want to interview me?
I wanted to interview you because, okay, I wanted to interview you because I think that I've been working with brand communities for years now. Obviously, not just the one that you are a part of, where I met you, the one for Human Eyes, but also other communities in various fields and sectors. And I normally find engaged community members, or at least for me, that's like the marker, the hallmark of a success of a community. When people are really engaged and the community members are contributing knowledge and inspiration, as you said, and feedback. But with you, it's been, you're probably the best example that I can see right now, at least as of now, for a really engaged community member that also not just that gives even without getting back sometimes. So just, out of your own expertise and kindness and willingness to help. And for me, that's a wonderful thing to see. And that's why I wanted to interview you and talk to you about this, because I wanted to hear, the what's in it for you side.
Yeah, thank you.
That was it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, I have indeed been very active. That's also I'm a very I'm actually a very stubborn person. So whenever I have like a certain idea or I feel like talking about or doing something, I just do it. And that's because that's been my motto for anything I do in my life. That's also how I raise my kids. I always tell them, okay, just do it. Just don't be shy. Don't be hesitant. Get out, do it. Why be afraid? Don't let anyone hold you back. The only way to improve yourself is by getting out, doing it, talk to people, listen to what they're saying, listen to their feedback, pick up their signals you get, and just enjoy what you're doing. And so yeah, I really like to work with people. I really like to help people. And as I mentioned before, um, I think if you give something to, if you are a giving person, you will always get, not always, but if it feels good, if you're building like a trustful relationship with a company or with people, then you'll get it back in a certain way. And it doesn't, you don't have to always have to get things back like immediately. But it can also be like uh, getting recognized, or for example, like I was invited to come over to CES. That was really for me like a really really great experience. And yeah, so I hope we can continue working together, and I'm really happy that we met. As I mentioned before, we never met face to face, but we will, I'm sure. And I just want to
So much
thank
for
you.
community.
Yeah,
We
I
have to
want to,
meet face to face.
yeah, drink some really nice coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or Dutch
so
cocoa.
yeah, so I want to thank you for your kind words and for your time. And
Thank
hopefully
you.
we can talk some more either online um,
We definitely will.
or in person. Yeah.
We definitely will. I think we have a lot. We still have a lot to talk about.
Yes, I'm sure. Yeah. Thank you very much, Eleanor.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your time and thank you for your input because it's been very interesting and important, I think.
Thanks. Thanks. Okay. So is there going to be a replay for this video too?
Yeah. Sorry.
Is there going to be a replay for this video? Are we going to post it somewhere or?
Yes, this video will stay on my profile and will be shared to, it will be shared to the engagement strategy groups page, and you can definitely share it to Field of Views.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
And we'll share it on YouTube, on LinkedIn.
Perfect.
We'll share our community talk.
Yes, yes. And maybe we can do it one more time. Also, I started to do my own interviews since CES. That's also one of the things. I know we don't have much time left, but I just want to mention this. So
Oh,
CES
yeah.
also gave me the opportunity to connect to some really great people. So I got connected to a broadcast studio in the VR world.
Your voice.
Yeah, VR Voice with Bob Fine, and so he also recognized what I'm doing, and he invited me to do a weekly interview with VR thought leaders. So I had my first.
When is the next interview?
Sorry?
When is the next interview?
The next interview will be on Monday at, let me think, it's 8 CET, 8 p.m. CET. So, but you can follow either on their website or on my Facebook page when the next interview will be. So it'll be Monday and Wednesday. I will be talking to some great VR thought leaders, and that's also for me an opportunity to find more connections, to learn a lot, and yeah, and to just talk to people and yeah, spread the word. Yeah. Okay. So
Okay, great. So for everybody watching, if you are interested in VR, follow Suzanne because she will be doing weekly interviews through VR Voice.
yeah.
And this video, as I said, will be kept on my profile and shared basically on all our channels. So you can look at it from the beginning and hear our conversation about communities and communities as a marketing tool, basically. And thank you again, Suzanne, for your time, for your input, and for being the most engaged community member I've known for years.
Thank you. Thanks for the kind words and the invitation. And hope you have a lovely weekend.
Thank you. You too. Stay
Thanks.
warm.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's very cold there.
It's snowing right here. Yeah,
Oh,
it just
cool.
started to snow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So stay warm.
Yeah, I will.
I will not tell you how many degrees we have right here. Well, it's around 21, 22.
Oh, really? You see, I have to come over.
You
I
have
really
to.
have to.
Yes, you
Yeah.
definitely have to.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so hopefully we'll talk again. Maybe we'll even do more interviews or more live videos. We'll see. Now that we know how this works, we
Yeah, we figured it out.
figured it out. Yay, on our
Yeah.
own. And thank you again.
Okay. We'll talk later. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.